Let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside, inside, yeah, inside.
Hello.
Inside, bringing hope and make you feel alright. Rainbow, the promise, the future and life.
Yeah.
Let this light that's within me shine to the whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring
Kian.
understanding
I see you, Aggie.
and love. Oh, inside,
Kathy, Sarah,
inside.
Tiger Lewis.
Yeah.
You're welcome. KK, I see you. I joined, well, I am here. Jen, thank you guys for joining.
Rainbow, the promise, the future and life.
Yeah. Ryan, I see you. Day Super, you're welcome. Mamo. Thanks guys for joining. Let's share the live, please. Chef Nora, I see you. NF.
Oh,
Sexy Julie, I see you. You're welcome.
Inside, all around me.
Bestie Boss, I see you. Hello, hello, hello.
Hope and make you feel alright.
Queen Duet, I see you. Thanks for joining. Let's share the live. User 5601, you're welcome.
Let this light that's within me shine to the whole world, whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh,
Queen D, thanks for joining.
Inside, all around me, yeah. Inside,
Kifa, I see you. Thanks for joining.
inside,
Lisha, I see you.
bringing hope and
You
make you
are
feel
welcome.
alright. Rainbow, the promise, the future and life.
Yeah.
Let this light that's within me shine to the whole world, whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside, inside, all around me, yeah. Inside.
Hello, hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. Fifi J20, I see you. You're welcome. Guys, welcome to Insight with FunmiRoyal this evening, a Thursday, one day to the weekend. I'm always glad when the weekend comes, so we can run down a bit and relax a bit. How has your week been? Has it been good weather-wise? Has it been raining? Has it been sunny? I'm really hoping the sun will come out and let's have fun. It's been cold, cold, cold. We want the sun to come out so we can relax some more. Matsuru, thanks for joining. Once again, I say welcome to Insight with FunmiRoyal. Guys, do me a favor. Let's share this live to as many, let them be part of this talk today. And as you know, on Thursdays, I talk about marriages and relationships. And I'm looking at another crucial, very sensitive aspect of marriage. Today is not something people would want to sit down and talk about, but it's happening in our marriage relationships. So I think I dare to bring this up and let's talk about it. Let's share our experiences if we have any submissions, as well. So I'm gonna give my talk, and after the talk, I'll expect as many people that are there, send an invite, or I can bring you up into the box and let's talk about this. There's some topics we can't shy away from them anymore, because our marriages are breaking up. They are breaking up in their thousands. So let's talk about these things. Let us address it. Let us face the bull by the horn, or whatever English you want to put there. Maureen, bless. Thanks for joining. So we're going to go to this, and like I said, it's sensitive, it's a very crucial one, and dare we talk about it today so that people can kind of self-reflect, or as a couple reflect together and address things so that we all can enjoy our marriages. And like I said, I don't have all the answers, but I will bring the most that I know. We'll share and talk about it, and then you come up and let's hear from you. We want to learn from you. I want to learn from you as well. And as usual, I have my puzzle for today. So if you know the answer to the puzzle when the time comes, please come on into the box and tell us what is your take on that. Yeah, I hope my box is okay today, because I've had issues loading up into my box, but we'll see how far we can go with that. But all the same, if you know the answer today, I don't want to bring you back next week. I need someone to win the gift today, guys. So you get the donut and 2 ice creams if I'm able to, God helping me. So we're going to go into the topic for today. At a dilemma. I don't know whether to sing some praise songs first or to just go into the talk. What do you guys reckon? Do I do a few praise songs? Are you in the mood for any praise songs before we go into the talk? So if I see anyone tap in there, yeah, let's sing a little, then I'll go for it. Otherwise, I'll go straight into the talk. So I'm looking in the next 1 minute. If somebody say, let's sing a little, or let's go for the talk. So you guys help me to decide today. Thank you guys for joining. So help me decide. Do we sing a little and dance a little? Or do you guys want me to go straight into the talk? What's your take on this? Salma 800, thanks for joining. Faustina, I see you. Thanks for joining. So which is it, guys? Do we want a bit of song? Or we just go for the talk? Song or talk? Which one do we start with? I really want to hear from you. That way I know we are engaging. Connie 385, thanks for joining. So what do you reckon? Should I do some praise songs, or we should just go into the talk? Aduni Ade, I see you. Aduni, can you do me a favor and type in there? Do I just do a few praise songs or dance a bit? Or do you want me to go straight into the talk? Aduni, I'm waiting for you. Let's hear what you have to say, Aduni. Thank you for joining. Guys, I want to see you engaged. Do you want me to just do a few songs, or we should just go straight into the talk? Aduni, you haven't responded. Take Mom, I see you. You're welcome. Kende, I see you. Kende, can you do me a favor? Can you type on the screen? Do you want me to take some choruses, or I should go straight into the talk? You know our time, we love to work with time. Otherwise, I'll just go straight into the talk if nobody's deciding. Yeah, I wanted us to engage even from this beginning. Candy, I'm waiting on you as well. Should I just dive into the talk, or we should dance a little bit? What's your take? Yappy 1985, thanks for joining. I see you. Nobody's typing anything there. I wanted to see. Okay, so our time is going. And maybe towards the end, if there is time, I might do that. So guys, once again, thanks for joining. And today, okay, let me just change that topic because there's a different topic we're talking about today. Integrity was on Monday. So today we'll be looking at this crucial topic, like I said, and it's a very sensitive one. And dare we talk about this? Dare we talk about it? Okay, so hopefully that is not covering my face. But if it is, I know you guys will let me know. Okay, otherwise, thank you so much for joining me on Inside Today. Heart, I see you. So the topic today, like I said, it's a very sensitive yet crucial topic. The one that, it's there like a big elephant in the room and nobody's addressing it. It's titled Woes in Marriage. Sue, I see you. Woes in marriage. Woes in marriage. It happens on a daily basis. Mila for Christ, thanks for joining. I see you. Cosma, thank you for joining. And this topic is very sensitive, like I said. Sometimes we shy away from talking about it, but this is some people's reality. How do we tackle it? What do we do? Do we address it? Do we shy away from it? Do we ignore it? Do we pretend it's not there? So today I'll be talking about woes in marriage. So while marriage can be a beautiful and fulfilling partnership, it is not without its own challenges. You're welcome, Mila for Christ, I see you. So understanding the common woes that couples face can help us navigate these difficulties more effectively and work towards healthier and resilient relationship. Woes in marriage. People don't like to talk about this in particular, but it doesn't mean it's not there. Kindness, you're welcome. It doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's not breaking up husband and wife, all over the world, not just a particular race or a culture. It's everywhere. As long as there is a marriage in that society, these are some of the challenges that any marriage would face. Ogundele Itunu, I see you, you're welcome. So, introduction to marriage. Any marriage would face. Ogundele Itunu, I see you, you're welcome. So, introduction to marriage woes. Marriage woes refers to the various difficulties and challenges that couples may encounter throughout their relationship. It never kind of stops. If you get me, you just see them come and go. Woes in marriage. But if it's not properly dealt with, it can break up a marriage relationship. So these challenges can stem from a variety of sources, including personal differences. For the fact that your husband and wife, you're in love with each other, does not mean you always see eye to eye. Life full of surprises. You're welcome. So it can be personal differences, external pressure, and life's challenges itself. So addressing this issue head on with empathy, with communication and commitment is essential for maintaining a healthy marriage. There is no marriage that will not go through its ups and downs. It's just a matter of time. Tasha, you're welcome. Marriage. There is no marriage that will not go through its ups and downs. It's just a matter of time. Tasha, you're welcome. Marriage. This one, I think almost every week it comes up and I cannot overemphasize this enough. So common woes in marriage is communication issues. You have communication issues and it's in different categories. Misunderstanding, poor communication can lead to misunderstanding, and this can cause frustration and resentment if not handled properly. Again, it could be lack of communication. Over time, couples may find themselves talking less, leading to a sense of distance and disconnection because maybe one of the spouses is always talking and talking, always wanting to have their way. After a while, the other spouse just get tired. They start distancing themselves. When they see you want to talk again, they will just withdraw, look for excuses to get out of the room, or just find ways of diverting or something. So it's not going to help that relationship whichever way. This can cause distance and disconnection between couples when there is lack of communication. How do you express your feelings? How do you express what you're going through if the other party is not really interested in listening or hearing what you have to say? And again, effective communication, learning to express thoughts and feelings openly and listening actively is very crucial. So, common woes in marriage, communication issues. Some couple might say once upon a time we used to talk about everything and anything, but these days I can barely put a word in. It's like at the sound of my voice they feel so irritated. Olu, you're welcome. They just don't want to hear me. It's like, am I saying the wrong thing? You leave your spouse confused because they're trying to communicate with you and you're not having it, and this can create a whole problem in that relationship. That's number one key thing of resolving anything, of addressing anything in a marriage. Effective communication has to be one of them. And again, other woe we face in marriage is financial strain. Oh, Lord have mercy. Don't get me started, especially in the economy worldwide today. The economy is so bad that a lot of people are struggling. The once upon a time high class, they're now like middle, even some have found themselves in the low class level, and it's just because the economy worldwide is really not good at the moment. So another war is financial strain, money management. So differences in spending and saving habits can create tension. You're the type that you believe in having savings, and your spouse does not believe in that. Look, we have issues today. We have things we need to address financially today. Let's just spend this money and, get it over with. What's the point of keeping the money when we have issues we need to address? So you may not see eye to eye when it comes to financial matters. Again, debt and financial pressure from either party. So financial burdens such as debt or loss of job can strain a marriage. Imagine you had two income coming in. You don't even feel it. If you need something, you go out and get it. If you need something, you just go online and order for it. And then there was money, even excess. You could save, you could travel on holidays, leisure stuff, expensive dinner. You don't even think twice about it. And all of a sudden, maybe the spouse that was earning the most lost their job, and now the financial burden is on one person. Okay, fine, maybe for the next few months you're able to still manage from your savings and all of that, and after a while it becomes strenuous because it's only one income coming in, and the other party is still trying to get a job, and you can imagine the spending, the bills never stop. So if you don't know how to address this, it will become a burden. It will become a burden to the family, and this can create another war in a marriage setting. Financial planning, creating a budget and financial plan together can help alleviate pressures, meaning you still have to talk about it. Fari, I see you. Thanks for joining. Terry Evans, you're welcome. So another war in marriage is intimacy issues. This one, I don't even know which angle to begin to tackle it. Physical intimacy. Let's go with that. So physical intimacy, changes in that, can occur due to stress, health issues, or lack of communication. Yet again, couples get married and the notion is we'll live happily ever after. But nobody would ever tell you that maybe 5 years down the line, one of the spouses is going to be facing life-threatening disease such as cancer or stroke or heart attack or things like that, or even an accident where they might have to lose their limb and things like that. Nobody ever thinks about that, but these things we all know happens. So changes in physical intimacy can occur due to stress, health issues. When one of the spouse is not healthy, they might not be able to be physically intimate with their spouse, and the spouse from the onset might feel, okay, I will understand, with time things might get better. And who knows, with time, things they're not getting any better, and it's even making the other spouse feel more frustrated. It's not like they're not understanding, but we're flesh and blood. You guys know that. I mean, imagine you're living in a house with your spouse for 10 years, no intimacy because of health issues. It will strain that marriage. It will strain that marriage whichever way. No matter how patient and understanding you are, you might just get to your break point, and things can happen. This can create a war in a marriage. Again, emotional intimacy. Emotional disconnect can lead to feelings of loneliness and isolation within the marriage. And this is another woe. And if care is not taken, your partner feels lonely, even though you're always there. You're not one to want to emotionally connect. You feel, oh, your spouse is too emotional. Danny, you're welcome. And you're just ignoring them and all that. It's like we need to be careful how we treat each other, because sometimes we don't help our spouse, and there comes this strange person who is giving them emotional attention. It's not only when infidelity comes into that marriage that somebody has done, sometimes you might get emotionally attached to a different person other than your spouse. That is part of infidelity, if I can put it that way. So let's be mindful. Emotional intimacy can disconnect your feelings from one another. You don't want your spouse to feel lonely or isolated within the marriage. I mean, what's the point? Even if the whole world deserts you, not your spouse, So let's be mindful of that. Again, rekindling intimacy, because hustling and bustling of life, you work, come back, you're tired, you barely have time for each other. Making time for each other and prioritizing the relationship can help rekindle intimacy. Otherwise, you're bringing in more woes, like we don't have enough already. So sometimes you might have to go out of your way, plan things for one another, spend time away, a weekend away. You don't even have to travel far. Just look for a B&B or a hotel close by. Just take your spouse and go and relax for a couple of days. Just be intimate with one another. Try to rekindle that intimacy, because, life will never stop happening, but we have to prioritize one another. Make time, to be intimate with our spouses. Otherwise, a stranger might just, take that place, and we don't want that. Again, another war in marriage is infidelity. This one, infidelity is infidelity. Shoana, thanks for joining. Betrayal of trust from a spouse. So infidelity is one of the most devastating woes, breaking trust between partners. And to build a trust is hard work. To break it, in fact, you can break it in a minute. That trust you've been building for 30 something odd years, in 1 minute you can just break it. And to build it or to rebuild again the trust, it will take extra effort, extra patience, extra understanding, extra love, and all the extras you can think of positively. So infidelity can be a war in a marriage. Again, rebuilding the trust, like I said, it will require honest communication. Yet again, communication. Sometimes you might have to go for counseling, depending on how the infidelity situation has panned out, and mutual commitment to healing. You've just shocked your spouse with this news of infidelity, and in a couple of days you're like, oh honey, how are you? Please give them time to heal. They're not robots that you can turn on and off. Give them time to heal. Give them time to process it, because that trust is broken. And like I said, it will take a while to build it again. Busola, you're welcome. So when you're trying to rebuild the trust, don't hurry them up. You could even ask how you can help them process things, as subtly as possible. If they might have to go for counseling, please do not be ashamed to go with them or to be supportive in that way. And be committed, making sure that your spouse completely heals. Do not rush them into what they're not ready to do, because it will just aggravate the anger again on the inside of them. Ice Queen, you're welcome. Again, prevention. Building a strong, transparent relationship can prevent infidelity. You know, the reason why infidelity happens, there's so many reasons why. When a partner feels disconnected from their spouse, and then there's one stranger out there giving them the attention, the time, the emotional connection, the listening ear, all of that. Before long, they'll start having some sort of feelings towards this person, whether it's lost, you want to call it, or love, or infatuation, or whatever. I don't know. Kiki, you're welcome. So, but the best way is to prevent this from happening. Whatever you're seeking from a stranger, you have a spouse, you have a partner, why not sit down and talk about it? Honey, for the past few months, I haven't felt like I connected with you. I just feel this distance between us. Talk about things. Because sometimes they just sit down and assume they don't like me anymore, so I'll find somebody else by the side. This by the side will even create more problem for you. And then you cannot expect, you see, this thing called infidelity is not one-sided. Either party that commits it is as gruesome and devastating as can be, because we're human beings. For the fact that I'm a woman does not mean, oh, I have a forgiving spirit, I'll forgive. No. Or for the fact that I'm a man, I should be bold, just take it in, suck it in. No, 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 no. Mila for Christ, that is why you should always treat your partners based on what they want. Yeah. And I tell you that, Mila for Christ, I think it was few weeks back, I don't know, I was on somebody's life and we're talking about rebuilding your relationship and things like that. And I said to them, something occurred to me whilst I was counseling this young couple. The wife was complaining. And the man said, but I do this, I do that, I even do this, I even do that. And the woman said, but did I not appreciate it? But did I not tell you what I like as well? But you do what you think I like. And at the end of the day, it's like, oh, he's done it again. And I'm like, look, let's break this thing down. Because sometimes I feel, oh, I love ice cream. I will buy ice cream for my spouse. They must like ice cream by force. Not finding out from my spouse that they love popcorn. And the fact that they've even told me it's popcorn they like. I'll say, go and buy ice cream. I said, did I not buy you ice cream? Ice cream is more expensive. You barely can get this ice cream anywhere. And I bought it for you and you're complaining. Let us reason logically first. Let us reason. So sometimes it's not about what you want for your spouse. It's about what they want. So thank you, Mila for Christ, for that observation. So these are things that can create problem in a marriage relationship. It can become a woe, a thorn in your flesh if you don't have that open mind to understand what your spouse need, the support they need, the emotional, whatever they need from you to give to them. And then once they are satisfied, of course, they'll be open to receiving yours as well. And it's no competition. What would make my spouse happy? I will do it. What will make my spouse happy? Let me do it. Not that what I think will make them happy. There will be problem. Especially what you're thinking is not what they actually need. Blackmore, you're welcome. So let's try to prevent that so we can build a strong, a transparent relationship and prevent infidelity. Let's connect with our spouses. Don't look for solution out there. Don't look for alternative. Your spouse should be your one in all. The only thing I know that can separate you is death. You know, so issues will arise, but how do you constructively attend to that issue? Do you allow that issue to break you guys down, or you guys break down the issue and, you know, you're stronger up there? So another woe in marriage is parenting challenges. Trust me, hey, this one, people don't see it because it sounds subtle. It sounds somehow. Deals, you're welcome. Parenting styles, differences in parenting approach can lead to conflict. And the reason is because your spouse grew up with a different parental upbringing. You grew up with a different parental upbringing. Now both of you come together to be one. You know, the honeymoon stage, when there are no children, you guys just do your thing. You're not even thinking about how you're going to parent the children when they start coming. Some couples will stay 5 years because they want to enjoy each other before they start bringing the children. Duna, Elena, thanks for joining. And then the children start coming. Okay, when they're babies, of course, the mom is feeding and all of that. And then this baby is growing up, and the dad, his value is like, this is how I want to raise my child. And the wife is saying, no, this is how I was raised. This is how we must do it. And you never really talked about it. And now the time is here. And then you're having issues. You seem to have different opinions about how to raise your children. And they start creating conflicts, and all. It's a war in marriage that, if not addressed properly as well, can actually break up a marriage relationship. So balancing responsibilities, the demands for of parenting can strain the marital relationship if you guys don't talk about these things. How are we raising our children? For me, I'm a believer. We're going to use the word of God to raise our children. Musa Grace, you're welcome. For you, you could be a Muslim. You can say you use the Quran, the guidelines in there to raise your children. Or some people, they will even tell you they don't believe there is a God or one thing. But whatever way you want to parenting styles or skills you want to bring, talk about it such that it's not bringing conflict. And always remember, you did not grow up in the same house with your spouse, so they would always have a different opinion. But when you sit down and talk about things, that way you come to a compromise, and then life goes on. So learn to balance the responsibilities. Demand of parenting, like I said, can be straining in your relationship, in any relationship. So we need to talk about things and reach a consensus, a value, principles that we want to, raise our children with. Then unified approach, agreeing on parenting strategies and supporting each other as partners and parents is very essential. And I tell you, one of the things I experienced when my older boys were still very young and growing up, sometimes we say to them, this thing you guys are not having. If you must have it, go and meet daddy or mommy. And me and my husband would say, you know what, this thing, they will not have it. We will tell them when they can have it. For whatever reason, these children, they're so smart. So don't think they don't know. My husband will be downstairs and I'm upstairs. And they've come to me, can we have this? I said, no, not today. And they'll go to daddy because daddy's soft heart. Like, not that I don't have soft heart, but don't get me wrong. We just decided that they were not having it maybe until the weekend or something. And then they'll come to daddy, hey, daddy, can we have this? And he would just smile, okay, go and have it. And then maybe I'm just going downstairs and I'm like, what are you doing with this thing? He said, but daddy said we can have it. I said, oh my goodness, these children have played us. I'll go and meet mom. I said, next time, tell them to go and meet mommy. And then you find out what happened. They'll come and meet me. I'll say no. They'll come and meet daddy. Daddy say, go and meet mommy. And I'll say, go and meet daddy. By the time they go up the stairs once, twice, they get tired and they go to their room. So be mindful. That's just like a very fun one that I've given as an example. It could be something serious. Say, for example, your teenage child wants to go out and your dad had said you cannot go out because maybe he didn't do his chores or something. And then they come to mommy, you are the best mommy in the world. Can I go out to see my friend? I say, oh, you can go, come on. I did not even check with my husband whether they've asked him or something. And then off, they would even not say goodbye. Off they go. And then maybe he's not calling this child. Where is this child? I said, but they said they were going out. So, but I told this child not to go. I never knew you told them not to go. I just said they should go. So you can imagine, if you're not in sync, especially with parenting, it can become a war in a marriage. So you have to talk about things. If you're not sure, don't just say go, do. Talk to your spouse. Be sure that you're in agreement before saying to that child, do or don't do. So that's just an aside. And again, another woe can be work-life balance. Time management, balancing work commitment with family life can be very challenging, especially maybe when you got married, you have very light workload. And then as you're progressing in this profession, progressing in your marriage, it's now time consuming and you want to make impression in that office because you're praying for a promotion. You have to put in extra effort, extra time and all of that. And you're not even explaining to your spouse. You just assume because you've gone to work, they should know you've gone to work or what time you'll be back and things like that. They don't know what you're trying to do at work. So how do you have to sit and talk with them. Guess what, honey? My work, you remember when we met, I only just do few hours, but now they're giving me more responsibilities and things like that. I think I need help. You might even ask your spouse for help. How do I tackle this? How do I manage my time? I know it's a work thing, but when you talk to your spouse, you kind of bond as well. Don't just feel they won't understand what you're going through. All these negative assumptions is in our mind, and then we act towards it, and then it creates even more chaos. So instead of assuming, sit down, talk with your spouse. If you need their help and support, I mean, that's what they're there for as well. So balancing work commitment with family life can be challenging. Talk about it, ask for help. Don't just sit and assume they should know what to do. Then quality time, you have to balance your time with work, with your spouse, even with children, family members. It goes on. It's like, you're spent. You don't have any time for you even. So ensuring that you spend quality time despite busy schedules is very vital. So if you are the type you don't work on the weekends, what's the plan for the weekend? Is it just another time to go out again and come back late, or do you find time to spend with your family, despite all the busy schedules you have? So it has to be something deliberate, and it has to be intentional, so that they know that this woman is busy, this man is busy, but they're tired, they should be sleeping, and they're still like, guys, let's go for a walk, let's go to the garden, let's spend time together. And so quality time is very, very important. Again, like I say, support system. Sometimes use those aunties and uncles, send the children off for the weekend, take your spouse somewhere. And even if you sit down and be staring at each other, please do that if that's what you need, or what you feel you haven't done in a while. Andulem, thanks for joining. So, providing mutual support and understanding regarding work-related stress is very important. Sometimes, you get so busy in a year, you even forget to book holidays because you're so busy. And then your spouse comes one day, book 2 weeks holiday. Let's just travel out somewhere. Like, oh my God, when last did I book a holiday? This is 2 years in a stretch. I haven't booked any holidays because you're busy. We need to slow down sometimes. Otherwise, it will affect us, and it will create another woe, which is the next one I'm going to talk about: health issues. Health issues is another woe in marriage. I mentioned it briefly when I started about it, but I'll go a bit more in depth. So physical health, chronic illness, or health crisis can place a significant strain in a marriage, or in a marriage, whichever one. I gave the example of, newlyweds. Nobody's thinking anybody will fall sick. We're going to be good. You go to work, we have children, we live happily ever after. When challenges come, we'll face it. But who in their right mind would think, what if my spouse just all of a sudden comes up with this chronic illness that is almost like a death sentence? How do you handle that? Health issues is a woe in marriage, and trust me, I have heard of cases, even believers, they die of cancer. I think I gave a couple of weeks back, this man, he was just feeling poorly, kind of. We thought it was flu or fever, and self-medication and all that, but for so long he wasn't getting any better. And he decided to go, the wife was like, please just go to the doctors and check, because this can't be flu like anymore, it's just too much. And then he went in, and then they did series of tests, and then they told him to come back, in a couple of weeks they'll let him know the result. And lo and behold, stage 4 cancer. And 2 weeks after, he passed away. She's a young woman with children, teenage children, a young toddler. They never planned this was going to be how it would end. But I tell you, health issues can bring woe in a marriage, especially the chronic illnesses. A spouse is like, oh, sweetheart, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, and off they've gone, traveled out. On the way back, an accident, or maybe wherever they've gone, an accident, and then you just receive the call. Is this so person? Yes. Are you related to this person? It's my spouse. And I said, well, sorry, we have to give you this bad news. They've just had a gruesome accident, and their legs have been amputated, both legs. We never think of that. That can bring woe in a marriage, especially when spouses don't even talk about the extreme life situations just to kind of prepare their mind in case of the worst things. We need to balance life, the way we think. I'm not saying just sit down and be thinking of evil thoughts. No, but sometimes you have to go there. And that's why I have to go there today. Woes in marriage. It's not something anybody wants to talk about. But you find out that when you talk about, it's like self-reflection, like I always say. If the worst thing happened, are you ready mentally for it? Are you ready physically for it? Emotionally? Handretta or Hendretta, you're welcome. So there are certain things we don't want to talk about, but we see it happening in other homes. And then we just, we pray for them or we wish them well, but we never think it will happen to us. But what if it happens to us? That shouldn't be the end of our marriage. So sometimes you may have to help your spouse more than necessary. Imagine now they've amputated the spouse's leg. Even if they can walk, go to work again, it will not be like before. They might have to work from home, or they might not even be able to work because it can take a toll on them, on their mental health and what have you. Mental health issues, depression, anxiety, and this can also impact the relationship as a result of some health challenges. So support and care is needed. Providing care and emotional support for each other's health needs is very crucial. And sometimes you may not be able to provide the entirety of the care they need. So sometimes, if you're in a good community where the government will support, with healthcare and things like that, take advantage of it. Don't be shy. Don't feel, oh no, you don't want people to know your business and all. You might not just be able to cope. Even if you're coping now, a time might come you might be tired yourself and you don't want to get into that depressing state yourself. Who's going to look after who? So sometimes take advantage of the support the government is helping, or some charity organizations as well. Paris Jolly, you're welcome. Another woe in marriage, the last one I'm going to talk about, is in-law relationships. Hey, let me drink water. In-law relationships. I've heard where in-laws literally broke this marriage up. They did. And the husband went his way, the wife too went the way, just because of in-law interfering. This is a woe in marriage, because no matter, even if your spouses are orphaned, somebody took care of them. So they're responsible to some people, their family members. So you can separate them. But some spouses are not wise enough to put boundaries in place for their spouses, especially Yore. Yeah, thank you for joining. So boundaries, managing relationships with extended family can sometimes lead to conflict, especially if you don't know how to manage it well. You will not crucify your spouse for the sake of your family. It is wrong. Mark Jesus 8, you're welcome. It is very wrong. You can't do that. Your spouse is your number one. Every other person's, they are secondary. In fact, your children is secondary. Your children will be secondary. And every other person will be thirdary. If I can say that, it is funny, but they should be thirdary if there's anything so called. Please know where to put boundaries with in-laws, because otherwise they would come in and disrespect your spouse. And there's no balance in that. Cheesy, you're welcome. So respect and balance, yeah. Setting and respecting boundaries while maintaining positive relationship with in-laws is very important. In fact, sit down with your spouse and talk about these things. For the fact that you only have one brother in this world, you don't have parents, they look after you, they sent you to school, they paid for the school fees, does not mean they should come and sleep on your matrimonial bed. Please now, haba. In-laws, I beg, go. Please, let us respect the boundary and peace of this couple. Harry, you're welcome. For the fact that they owe their life to you does not mean you should come and be the Lord in their home. If you have not said yes, this husband and wife cannot agree and do something without asking for your permission. Why? Once upon a time, when this person was single, you can be their guardian or whatever it is. But now they're joined to somebody, they are married, and they're supposed to decide together as husband and wife. And lo and behold, this man or this woman will say, without this uncle, without this person, I will not be this person you have married. You know, blackmailing one another with this kind of talk, manipulative words. Let's put boundaries with in-laws. It's very crucial if you don't want this war in your marriage. So let's be mindful. And it has to be a deliberate thing. Let your in-laws know the boundaries so they don't cross it. Especially with your wife, with your husband. Otherwise, they will trample on their head. And they will expect you to fight this battle with them or for them. And you just feel, oh, they're your family, they're looking out for your best interest so they can trample on your spouse anyhow. No, please. God will help us all. I know it's a very sensitive topic, but we have to go there at some point. And if you're listening on the FYP, please self-reflect. How have you handled these woes I've talked about? There's so many of them, but I'll leave it there. So now I just want to go quickly into strategies to address and overcome marriage woes. I'm sure I've said it even along the way. Again, open communication, regular check-ins with your spouse, making it a habit to regularly discuss your feelings, your concerns, and expectations. Don't be afraid to talk to your spouse. Fola, you're welcome. Do not be afraid to show your concerns, to share your concerns, your expectations. If your spouse has done something below expectation, you should have every right subtly to tell them, dear, this thing you've done is below expectation. I didn't expect you to do this. Because nobody's perfect. I make mistakes. My husband make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. But we're there to shoulder it. Sometimes we'll be angry with each other or whatever. We'll still come back and talk. Because there's no way I'm going. There's no way he's going. So we better make up quickly for our own sake, you know. So check in with your spouse regularly. Don't just leave them to it. Oh, but I saw her in the morning before she left for work. I saw him, da. No. Even whilst at work, just text, reach out. Hi, honey, I'm just missing you. What are you up to? Are you busy? Just chat, not until late in the night when you now meet, you just barely kiss, have dinner, everybody's gone to sleep again. Look how you're welcome. So, active listening as well. Listen to your partner with empathy without interruption. Because sometimes we just hear so that we can quickly respond. We are not actively listening. Because otherwise, when we're listening and it's time for us to respond, we need to take a moment to digest what they've said so we can respond adequately, not just with feelings and anger and, fight back. Otherwise, the whole thing will explode. Then constructive dialogue. Approach conversations with the goal of understanding and resolving issues, not assigning blame, especially when things have gone wrong. You need to constructively dialogue with your spouse. Maybe you should wear your serious face. Now let's talk serious business. Because some spouse, everything is joke. There's so many kind of spouses out there. Everything is joke. Even when the spouse is so serious and this thing is hurting them, they'll say, oh, it's you again. You take each other for granted. No, let's be mindful. Let's listen actively to what our spouses are saying. For the fact that they want to sit and talk about something, you should know it's a burden to them or it's a concern to them. Nobody jokes about when they have concerns. So let's put jokes aside and be serious in that conversation so they know you have their good interest at heart. Ali B, you're welcome. Again, like I will always say this, seek professional help if necessary. Don't feel ashamed to seek help. Marriage counseling, a therapist can provide tools and strategies to navigate difficult issues. We don't know it all. I don't know it all. That's why I want to hear from you after my talk. I need to hear from you so I can learn more as well. You're learning. We're learning together now. Ras Eagles 55, you're welcome. So if you have to go for marriage counseling, by all means, please go and be happy and resolve issues so you can enjoy your marriage and push that war aside. Sometimes some people might feel comfortable like in a group support, support group. Joining support groups can offer additional perspective and support from others who are experiencing similar challenges. They found out that this one we're killing ourselves here. Did you just hear that couple? Their own situation is even worse than us. Or you hear someone say, this one I've just started. They still honeymoon. You not even become expert. That way you start talking. And it's helped. That support group has helped. Because you find out that it's not just you alone in your marriage going through that issue. Other people are going through it and they're also seeking help to solving it. So don't be ashamed when you need to get a counseling session or something. Then prioritize your relationship. Date nights. I had one last week. And it's been a while, I must tell you. Life has just been... don't get me started. And then the hubby said, okay, let's go to cinema and watch. I'm like, when last did I go to the cinema? And then we went and watched Bad Boys, whatever Bad Boys it was. It was fun. He even poured his popcorn. I was trying to help him, guard the thing, but just poured. And we laughed. It was fun. Date nights, regularly scheduling time for just the two of you to reconnect and enjoy each other's company. I remember when we came from the car park and then we're walking down to go inside, and I'm like, is it okay to hold your hand? Say, was you asked to hold my hand? I said, people are looking. Are you sure you're not shy or something? Just trying to be us again, kind of a thing. Because life's challenges chokes life out of you sometimes. And it felt weird because we haven't done that in a while. And this is me confessing to you. But it's needed. We're humans. Flesh and blood is running through us. So we need to do certain things and we need to do them deliberately. Then express appreciation. Show gratitude and appreciation for your partner's effort and contributions, no matter how little you think it is or they are. Just show that, what you've done, you might not think about it, but I really, really appreciate what you've done. And thank you for, whatever it is they've done. Holla, thanks for joining. Always learn to appreciate each other, especially those little appreciations. It goes a long way. Another strategy, that we can use to address or overcome marriage woes. Another one is develop financial plans together. I mentioned that earlier when I was talking about the woes. Budgeting, financial goals and things like that. Create a budget that reflects both partners' priorities and goals. What is your priority might not be your spouse's, but they still have to be done. Don't feel because my priority is number one. I'm the head of this family. I'm the this of this family. So therefore, my own plans must be done. And these things, of course, budgeting requires both of you putting money aside. So don't look down on each other's goals and aspirations or priorities. Support one another. Be real. Okay, which one can we do first? Whether it's the big or the small, you both have to decide. Okay, set short-term and long-term financial goals together. Do it together, not individually. Because the other spouse might not know what you're planning. And for example, you have one savings and they just feel, I need to do this quickly. You didn't tell your spouse, you just quickly dip your hand, not knowing that what you decided to do before, there's a direct debit or whatever coming out, but you've tampered with the money and then chaos, fight. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you do this? But we sat and talked about this, and then on and on and on it goes. So in order for us to avoid this, let's sit down and talk about our financial goals. And again, nurture intimacy, physical affection, maintain physical touch and affection in your daily interactions. Some of us, is when last did we hug our spouse? Even me, I'm asking myself. Apart from cuddles to sleep or what have you, like broad daylight or in the mornings or some things, those little things. There was one I was saying to a client, is it possible to hug your spouse for just 2 minutes? Start, if not every day, every other day. And see, you don't have to say anything. Just go and hug them. Because it will melt this anger they're feeling towards you. I said, is it even possible? if you go to do that, would they push you away? Said, oh no, they won't do that. So why are you not doing it? Well, I'm also trying to prove that I'm right. But then somebody has to make the first move. You have to be the bigger person now and make that move. And then when we come back next time, we'll talk about it. Did it happen? Or how often did it happen? So sometimes we have to let down our guard for the sake of peace, in our marriage. Okay, so physical affection, emotional connection with our spouse, when we're talking about nurture intimacy, it has to be deliberate, it has to be nurtured, it has to be talked about, it has to be planned. Maintaining physical touch and affection in your daily interaction with your spouse is very crucial. Share your thoughts, your dreams, and fears to maintain emotional bond. Some women, everybody believes generally women are more emotional and all that. But sometimes I've heard the case, someone will say, it's even my husband that is more emotional than myself. And sometimes you find it that way. It doesn't mean we should take each other for granted, whichever way. Let's connect emotionally. Whatever gap that is there, let's close it up. Let's connect. Intimacy. Where was I? Recently, we were talking about intimacy. I think it was a friend's live. And they're like, some people are shy, to say to their spouse when they're in the other room, in the bedroom, this is how they like it or whatever. They're shy to talk about it. Some hide behind their faith and what have you. Yeah, I remember it's a live. There's some things that, please, you say two have become one. Both of them will be naked and will not be ashamed because they have become one. Talk about how you want to be intimate with one another, how pleasurable it will be for you if it's done this way, if it's done that way. Don't be shy with your spouse. I mean, I'm 25 years in marriage now. Just imagine me being shy with him. I'm like, what is it? Except if it's something new that I'm not comfortable with, doesn't mean I'll just push it out altogether. We'll talk about it. I don't see me doing this, or I see me doing that, or whatever. Talk to your spouse. Don't be shy. Don't be ashamed. Who else will you talk to about this intimacy stuff if not your spouse? And again, I'll come back again to the parenting aspect, the balancing parenting responsibilities. You have to, when those children start rolling in, it's not the responsibility of one spouse, it's both joint responsibility. There's a role of the father, there's a role of a mother in the life of that child. So the father can't neglect his role and expect the mother to be mother and father. Fine, circumstances will bring people to that situation. I do understand. But when a man and a woman is in that home and they're raising their children, they have to do it together. It's not on one person to do it all. No. Team approach. Work as a team to share parenting responsibilities and support each other's role. Support each other's role. For the fact that I'm the woman, I'm supposed to cook, the man dare not cook. Who says? Who says that? Sorry, I was just trying to verify. TikTok brought this verification box thing. Okay, so we're good. A man can cook for his family. He should be his pride. Imagine, for me, sometimes I cook, and I can't even eat the food because it's, I've smelt it and I just cook and they're like, Mom, you're not eating. I'm like, I don't feel like eating it because it's me that cooked it. And sometimes my boys will make jollof rice and I will eat it. They're like, Mom, it's not all that good. I said, but I didn't cook it, so I don't care. It's good. And I just eat just because I'm tired of my cooking. Or sometimes my husband would, when we pray and all that, he will cook the jollof rice or whatever rice, and I'm like, you're starving me because I'm tired of eating my food, and I'll beg you to cook jollof rice. You'll be doing shakara for me or what have you. And the day he does it, I will eat half of the pot. Even if you don't know how to cook as a man, YouTube videos, go and watch how to make spaghetti bolognese. That's the simplest dish you can learn quickly. Just say, guys, I'll make dinner tonight. Spaghetti bolognese. You've watched the video a million times. You've practiced behind. Now you know your thing. Just cook dinner for some people. People you love, not just anyhow. And if you feel your cooking is good enough, invite friends over. Anyway, let's not go there. So, parent together. Parenting is together. If you like, go for parenting classes if you think you're having issues. That's why I said never be ashamed to seek help. Consider taking parenting classes together to develop a unified approach. No man knows it all. Kind, you're welcome. Florence, thank you for joining. Again, learn to manage stress. It will come. Like all the woes we mentioned, they would come. Maybe if not today, another time. And some people, they might not even face it in their lifetime. Yeah, thank God for that. Manage stress well, both of you, because otherwise, husband is stressed, wife is stressed. Who is going to look after who? Healthy lifestyles. Maintain a healthy lifestyle to manage stress, including regular exercise or whatever works for you. A balanced diet and sufficient sleep. It matters because when you're not managing stress, you're just there trying to sleep. Your mind is everywhere. You're thinking, oh my God, oh this and that. Before you know, you just check the time. It's 4 in the morning and you know you have to get up by 6. That means you barely have 2 hours to sleep. And that doesn't mean when you close your eyes like this, you just snore away. No, you might even lose another hour and then you end up sleeping 1 hour. How many days do you want to do that? So learn to manage stress. If you need help from your spouse, talk to them. And again, stress relief activities. Engage in activities that will help you relax, unwind together. Some couples, when they just sit on their sofa and play some soft music, they distress. I mean, all the stress, they dispose of it in each other's arms, just relaxing. When last did anybody do that? Sometimes it's just a little thing you might have to do and you feel a whole lot better. But because you're stressed, your mind is not even thinking how to relax, just taking on more. And even if you're not taking on more is just finding you somehow. We don't want to break down mentally because we'll be useless to everybody. And again, I'll talk about this, the last one, before I round my talk. Setting boundaries with in-law. And I'll keep saying this because when you don't set up boundaries, they can break your home. I've seen so many cases. I've heard so many cases where in-laws have broken relationships. Good one at that. Some in-laws are manipulative. Oh my God, don't get me started. Go on Facebook, Instagram, everywhere, even on TikTok here, and watch some videos. You'll be like, is this a film or is this a reality? Because of the things in-laws will do. So set clear boundaries to your spouse's in-laws, your own in-laws. Clearly communicate your boundaries with extended family members. Because if you don't do that, they will overstep. And it's always in-laws across like that. Your mother, my mother to me, your mother to me, and and my mother to yours, and things like that. You just had a baby. And traditionally, what does it say? Some say it's the mother's the mother's mom that will come and look after the baby. But the husband's mother is insisting she must be there. And then she will carry her bag and come when they have not said, okay, mom, you can come. And then the accommodation these children of yours have, they can only accommodate one adult at a time because they have a new baby. And then these two mothers will come. And this one say, I want to carry baby, I want to feed baby. They're fighting, and the mother that's supposed to be resting is even stressed out. And they don't care. And then the husband is, you know what, their mother sort them out. And you just leave the woman, please. You're killing your wife, or you're killing your spouse. Please, do not leave each other to your in-laws. Because they would devour your spouse. So please let the boundaries be clear. Let them know that if you're in my house, you don't disrespect my wife. If you're in my house, you don't disrespect my husband. Because if you don't spell it out sometimes, you'll be amazed at what goes on. Especially when one spouse is left at home with his parents and the other spouse is going to work or something. They will not start maltreating your spouse. You have to fight for them and set boundaries. And then unified front. Present a unified front as a couple when dealing with in-laws. Don't fight in-laws separately. Fight together. Imagine you bring your wife, stand next to you. Okay, mother, say what you want to say. You say, no, it's you I want to talk to. I don't want to talk to your wife. Or I don't want to talk to your husband. Say, well, if you don't want to talk to my husband, that means you don't want to talk to me. Set boundaries, unified front. Don't say, my dear, you heard what mama said. Please, oh yeah, go away. Let me hear what she has to say. No, please. Please. There's some instances you and I know that they will create problem. So unified front together, and then they will behave themselves or they leave your house. So let's be mindful how we allow in-laws to interfere in our marriages if we don't want them to create woes in our marriage. So guys, I know I've been talking for a while and I hope you've picked one or two things, but I still want to hear from you as I conclude this talk today. Thank you guys for joining, and B, I see you. If you're just joining, I'm talking about woes in marriage. Sensitive talk people don't like talking about, but today we just have to go there. So in conclusion, marriage woes are inevitably part of any long-term relationship. So it's not something you can run away from. However, by recognizing and addressing these challenges with empathy, effective communication, and commitment, couples can overcome them and strengthen their bond. What would bond you together if not overcoming challenges together? You will bond, you will find a strength in one another that you never thought was there. Kente, you're welcome. So marriage is a journey that requires continuous effort, understanding, and support from both partners. It's not one-sided, from both of you to both of you. So let us approach our marriages with dedication and resilience, turning challenges into opportunities for growth and deeper connection. I hope I've been able to catch your attention tonight. And my prayer is that our marriages be filled with love, understanding, and enduring happiness. That is my prayer for all marriages out there. And please, like I say, let us put the good videos out there. The good videos about marriages, not just the bad ones all the time. So guys, thank you so much for hearing me today.
Lavish light must be within me, shine to the whole world, whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside.
Thank you guys. Remy, I see you. You're welcome to Insight. So having, gone through this talk, my question to us is, should there be woes in our marriages? Should there be woes in our marriages? And is it possible not to allow woes in our marriage? Is it possible not to allow woes in our marriage? Should there be woes in our marriages? So guys, I don't know if you have anything to share with us, if you have experience you want to share with us, or ways of coping or strategies to it, please, I'd love to hear from you. Let me see who is there. Can send an invite or you can type it in. I'll try to read it out. Bishop Remy, thanks for joining. I see you. Okay, let's see, invite. It's amazing the woes people face in their marriages. Some don't even know how to handle, do not even know what to do. Some they've tried, but they're not just experienced enough to know what to do. So that's why I say never be ashamed to seek help. Remy, thanks for joining. How are you today?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm fine, thanks. Is this your first time on Insight?
No, this is my fourth, fifth, sixth time.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to remember if I've seen you in the box before or you've always just watched from the FY page. I don't know. Yeah, Remy, you're muted. Oh, I can see the bar in the network. Please don't start the game today, network. So Remy, please, I want to hear from you. I want to believe you heard part of the talk, if not all of it. What's your take on woes in marriage? Do you think there are woes in marriages? And do you think it's okay when people allow these woes to just overtake them? Or I don't know what your take is on the topic. Please feel free to share your views.
Okay. Once again, good evening, everyone. Because I'm busy where I am, I just have to listen to, because once in a while I listen to you whenever I'm in the office.
Okay.
Well,
Thank you. Thank you
let
for
me say
that.
that there are there are merits and demerits in marriage. There are many things that one will go through in marriages.
Yeah.
So I think your that one we go through, many things that one we go through. They say that marriage is a school where you will never graduate.
Mm-mm.
There is no there is no graduation in marriage. It's a
Oh.
continuous process. Every day you learn. So let me say, in that is why they say that in sorrow, in peace, in joy, in rain, in summer, there are many things that you will pass through in marriages. You
Definitely.
understand? In marriage, there are many things. But what are those things that you learn during the time you are passing through all those things?
Mm-hmm.
Is it is it mending you?
Mm.
Is it giving you strength? Is it giving you confidence? Is it helping you? Is it to your own advantage or to your disadvantages what you are passing through? Is it building you
Yeah.
as a woman, as a man?
Good
So
question.
if it is not building you, if it is not strengthening you, then that means you are not learning in your marriage. So marriage is not about sorrowful. So when we talk about woes, maybe some people don't know what woes means. It means be in despair, be in sorrow. No, marriage will never bring you despair. It is just like an examination. If you want to get promotion, you must pass through examination. So it is an
Definitely.
examination that you have to go through. You go through some examinations so that you can get promotions. So when you get your examinations perfectly well, then there will be promotions in your examination. That is when people will start seeing you. People will start seeing you as a mentor. Oh, look at these people, look at these couples. Wow, they are doing well. Nobody knows what they are going through in their family, in their home, behind the scene, what they are going through. But because they know how they nurture themselves, how they settle their quarrels, how everything is solved. So nobody knows. That is what we call good marriage. A good marriage brings about a good home.
Yeah.
A good marriage brings about a good home. And when there is a good home, peaceful home, what else do we expecting? What else are we looking for? People start, you know, hey, this is the type of people that I want to be. This is the type of marriage that I want. So for you to have such type of marriage, you must pass through a lot of processes. A lot of you cannot see a gold. A gold will have to be refined. A good marriage will have to be refined. It goes through a lot of processes. So marriage is not about sorrowful, it's just about examination. It's not about being in despair, but it's about having a lot of testing and crossing some hurdles that you have to make sure you pass so that you can be promoted, so that your marriage and your home can be strong. And then you will have stories to tell to others
Yeah.
how you have passed through a lot of things. And your children too, your offsprings will be able to
Yeah.
have some things to gain from you. That is the little I can say.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Femi, for that. I really appreciate your submission, and that's just the truth. When I was starting the talk, I don't know if you joined it from the onset. I talked about woes of marriage. They're just various difficulties and challenges that couples encounter throughout their relationship. So it's not when you're 10 years, that's only the time you face it, and that's it. Because some people end up being married for 60 years, and believe me, if you sit them down to interview such couple, they would tell you woes and woes and woes they had to face, they had to fight, they had to overcome in order to reach that 60 years of marriage. So it is not, I always say marriage is not for boys and girls, it's for matured men and women. So thank you so much, Remy, for that submission. And guys, if you're there, I think one or two's invitation I've accepted. I don't know why they're not in the box. It's something we need to address. It is something we need to talk
Let,
about. Yeah,
let me also let me also say something.
please feel
You know, we do watch movies a lot, and
free.
a lot of movies are they are so complicated. They complicate a lot of issues
Oh
for
yes,
us.
they do.
You know, when we watch movie, all these love movies,
Yeah,
love in the garden, the way they do, people think that that is how marriage is. No,
in real
it
life.
is beyond those movies that we watch.
Hey, it's not
They
a
will
bed of
they will
roses.
not reveal to us they will not reveal to us what is inside marriage
Mm,
until you enter into it. That is when you will know that marriage is beyond primary school level. It is beyond
mm,
secondary school level. It is an institution whereby you can never graduate. So
yeah.
when you enter into it, you have more experience upon experience, and then you are expanded, you are wide, you have
Mm-hmm.
the mind to be in it, to be able to cater for whatever you need to cater for, to be able to express yourself, feelings, and everything emotionally, mentally, even financially, and every area. It makes you to be broadened, it widened you. So that is
Mm-hmm.
what marriage does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you. I was sharing there. I said, for me, I'm a married woman. I've been married for over 25 years. And trust me, I feel like I'm graduating from one class to another. You know, the way when you go to uni, let's use uni for example, year one, if it's a 3 year course or whatever, you're in year one. If you don't pass, you don't go to year two. And then you manage to pass, you get to year two. You still have to do another exam. But you know that marriage institution is the one that they will give you the certificate and then send you off to the school. So you have to learn. Just like Remy said, there is no graduating, no. No graduating at all. If at all anybody graduates, it will be to eternal life, if you get what I mean, what I'm trying to say. So there's no shortcut. There is no way out as far as I'm concerned. And when we talk about marriages like this, I'm not going to that extreme of DVs, domestic violence or domestic abuse. No, we're talking about normal, husband and wife relationship, the day-to-day one without all the domestic what have you. So every marriage will face these woes at some point in time. And like I'll always, say here, we don't fight each other when such challenges come. We will pull together to fight that challenge, to push it out. But what you find out that when that challenge comes, sometimes a spouse will take it on like, because this challenge is directly to me, you're not bothered. Their spouse is not bothered. And instead of their spouse joining with them to fight this challenge, they start fighting each other. And then you wonder, is this what we're meant to be doing in this marriage at this point in time? So we need to be careful. Challenges will come that might face just the one spouse. Challenges will come that will face both of you. How do you handle it? What do you do? Do you start fighting each other, or do you start apportioning blame, or especially when maybe it's a mistake that has been done and you can't wait to say, I told you so. You just had to go there. Tayo, you're welcome. I told you so. Okay, now you said I told you so. Where has that gotten you? Has that resolved the issue? Has that helped with anything at all? Why not just keep that aside and say, honey, I know you've made this mistake. How do we rectify it? What do we do now? Where do we go from here? And you find out that sometimes ego comes in, whether man or woman, ego comes in, and we cannot even settle down to constructively find a way out of that situation. Rather, we feel, oh, because you're not part of that decision, or you decide to do it without me, now see the outcome. So it's on you. You just sort it. When I hear that, my heart breaks. Because no matter what, nobody's perfect. It's her turn today, it might just be your turn tomorrow. So what happens? In a marriage, you don't say, do me, I do you, God no vex. As my people will say, like, if you hurt me, I will hurt you. It shouldn't be. One person is hurt is bad enough. How do you help that person to heal? Because like I said, these challenges will come. Sometimes it will be our own fault. Sometimes it will be something beyond our control. But it shouldn't mean now your spouse, oh, because they're not part of it and now this has happened, they'll crucify you and punish you for the rest of your life. No, we all make mistakes. We need to, if you fall 7 times, we need to rise up 10 times if possible, because this is just one of the many challenges that will come your way. And if you have crucified your spouse already, what will happen tomorrow? So let's be mindful. Let's be mindful how we treat each other. A lot of challenges will come that you didn't bargain for. It might face you, like I said, as an individual or as a couple altogether. Sometimes you find out that when you married your spouse, everything was okay. And all of a sudden, you just notice your spouse, maybe they start gambling. And then you thought, okay, it was a one-off. And then you now find out it's perpetual. Now it's becoming like a weekly. Now it's on daily. And now they're even going on the internet. And the money in the savings is going gradually. You don't just keep quiet. When you see all these signs, that's your place to caution them. It's your place to sit them down and try to talk to them. Some might be in denial that they're having that gambling problem. That's usually most times the case. But don't relent. Don't just keep quiet. Say, okay, oh, he said it's not a problem, so we'll leave it. It will grow worse if it's not attended to. So you might have to reach out to somebody to help, or you might have to reach out to your spouse yourself. But even if you have to reach out to somebody, make sure it's the right person. Someone who the husband or the wife respects, not just anybody. Because if care is not taken, you that you're the spouse, and whoever you brought in, you will get the insult of your life, or you will get the reaction you're not expecting. So you know your spouse, when is the best time you can reach them, as in they will listen actively. It could be early hours of the morning. It could be before they go to work. It could be late night before they sleep, or I don't know what time it is. But when you have something, a concern, or something you need to share with your spouse, do not shy away from it. The longer you leave it, the worse that situation might become. So it's a challenge. It's a fight. We have to fight this fight together to make sure that our home stays. And remember, when children start coming in, is what they see us do that they will also, start putting in their system. I remembered one forum I was in, and they were believers, and they keep saying, one person was saying, you will never see me and my husband, we don't argue in front of the children, or how did they put something like that? Yeah, I think something like that. And I said, okay, let them finish the talk. They finished. I said, I hear that, but I take a different perspective to it. Because these children are learning the good, the bad, the ugly. They see you, how you attend to the good, how you attend to the bad, how you attend to the ugly. And what I'm trying to say is, my husband and I, we argue. I will not say we don't argue. The children that, well, they're grown now in a way, they hear us and they hear that mom and dad are arguing. They would hear, because sometimes you close the door, they're still hearing through the door, except you want to be fooling yourself. And then the next minute, they will see us maybe in the dining, we're all over each other, looking into each other's eye, or hugging or kissing, and they'll be looking, what's wrong with these people? I thought they were quarreling the other day. That's it. We need to balance this thing. 1 minute they hear you quarreling, let them see when you made up. So they know that, okay, it's not bad as long as you do the balancing. Because imagine they just see us argue, argue, argue till they leave the house. That's all they know. They never saw us resolving things, or they never saw us making amends. They will go with the notion that it's always about argument. That's what marriage is for. So we need to learn to balance things, especially when you start having children, and especially when they're becoming young adults. They see these things. Sometimes your children will even challenge you. They will ask you some question you dare not lie, because they know what they know. You thought you were being discreet, but these children see through you. So would you lie to your children? Because they will call you out. So we need to balance things for our children as well, because whatever we teach them is what they will take into their own homes. Once upon a time, I was a young girl. I was a baby. I was a girl, a teenage girl. And then I became a young adult. I became somebody's wife. And now I'm a mother. I'm even telling my boss, please, I'm not ready to be grandma yet. When I'm just kidding. You know? So life is going on. And if we don't learn to see, in the last 25 years, if I'd kept a journal of who offends who or which argument, I don't think there'll be enough books in the world to write it. And if I had to write the good times, the lovely times, there's not enough pages, of a notebook to put that in. It has to be balanced. It's not a bed of roses, but it's how we live it. We're training our children to see, and also they're learning. That's why I said the upbringing we're giving to our boys, I don't know who their wives are going to be. They would also have a different upbringing, but we need to learn to balance things such that when issues arises, they also will know how to handle it. Because then who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? You might not be there when they eventually marry, and you might be there in their lives, but then you don't go and pack your baggages and say you must live with them and be teaching them how to live in their home. No. Once in a while, they might call you for advice, good. But it's whatever we've put in them now, in these children as they're growing up in our household. That's what makes them who they will become in future. And if you don't like what you see in your children, point to yourself first. What have you put in them? So it's one thing we going through this marriage woes, is another thing teaching our children how to handle these situations. Children, if you ask them, especially from divorced homes, if you ask these children, would you have wanted your parents to stay together? I don't think there's any child that would have said, no, I don't want mommy and daddy to stay together. Except maybe they've seen maybe some violence, attack or whatever. Maybe they might say, no, mom is better off or dad is better off. Maybe on that occasion. But I mean, when you now have to sit down and explain to your children, you can't handle this, irreconcilable differences, therefore you're going your separate ways, you now have to be explaining to these children, and the children will ask, so what is left of us? Where do we, your children, go from here? Are we staying with mommy? Are we staying with daddy? Just because we're fighting each other instead of the problem. I pray God will help us and give us grace to having understanding. There is no perfect marriage, because even if you leave this husband, you leave this wife, and you go to another man, issues will still be there. Issues, if not more horrible, if not more challenging, you don't know. But for the fact that maybe somebody's thinking that they will have a challenge-free marriage, they're living in dreamland. Remy, they're living in Nollywood or Hollywood. What do you reckon? It's just what it is. Different challenges, different season of our marriages. The newlyweds in their early stage of marriage, they would have their newlyweds issues. When they get to the middle age stage of marriage, they would have middle stage issues. When they get to the later parts, they would have issues, and most people in the later stage of marriage is usually health challenges. Now they feel they've retired, they should start relaxing, going on holidays and what have you. But now one of the spouses got this health challenge, or it could be both of them, health challenges. And all the plans they had thought, once we retire, we will do this. You now see the challenges of life they have to still battle with. It's like never ending. But in the midst of that, we have the good times as well. We have the happy times. I don't know if you guys keep pictures, to for memory's sake, not for you, for your children yet unborn, that you bring out the photo album and show them. Now you have all this white hair all over you, but you show them the picture when you were still young, like FunmiRoyal and all of that. You know, keep pictures, keep things, especially the good times. Let the memories be there, and let it be something you can share with your children and grandchildren as well, and teach them the reality of life, the reality in marriage, the reality, the good, the bad, the ugly. Balance it for yourself and for your children, because one day they're going to bring somebody home. I found the bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, and all that. They will want to get married, and it's the experience they have of you, their parents, in your own marriage, that has become their own school for learning, which they have taken on board, and now they're going to their own institution to carry out all these tests, all these examination, if they have to pass it and what have you. So it's very crucial. So if we don't attend to our own issues, we'll pass it on to those ones, the younger ones as well. And then that's why you see some of them, they grow up, they're afraid to get married because of the examples they've seen, or because of the home they grew up in. They don't really have good example of a good marriage, at least a fairly good marriage, to say, wow, if my parents could hold on for 60 odd years, that means I can do it. That means, something to encourage them, something to give them hope that there is, everlasting love in marriage, regardless of the woes. Guys, thank you so much. Thank you for liking the live. Mela, you're welcome. Send an invite if you want, if you have any contribution. Oh, it's just disappeared. If you have any contribution, send an invite. And I know the time is far spent. I will just, at this point, give my puzzle. I don't know, Remy, maybe you want to try the puzzle. If you, let's see, first of all. Okay, you get the gift today if you know the answer to the puzzle. Or, so that we can kind of relax a bit. It's a very sensitive talk, like I said, and we just have to go there today. So, otherwise I'll close early. It's fine. I'll go spend time with the children. My puzzle for today is, what is the best way to get a message to God? Remy, you can try this. What is the best way to get a message to God? Let's see.
Let the light that's within me shine to the whole world, whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love.
Okay, I think I have to stand up for a second. I'll be back in just 1 minute, guys.
Inside, 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 bringing hope and make you feel alright. Rainbow, the promise, the future, and life. Let this light that's within me essential in life. Let this light that's within me shine to the whole world, whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love. Oh, inside,
Sorry about that. So Remy, I don't know if you want to answer the puzzle for today. What is the best way to get a message to God? Yeah, I think I brought this last week. Nobody got it. So I might just tell us the answer today, or I bring it back one more time because I'm trying to see. There's nobody in the box there apart from Remy. Remy, you want to attempt this? If you're still there, I know you're busy at work. What is the best way to get a message to God? If you know, you can type it in. But of course, if you have to get the gift, you need to come into the box. Remy, thanks for liking the live. So you don't want to attempt the puzzle. What is the best way to get a message to God? So if you don't know it, I think I'll bring you back next week. I really don't want to let the cat out of the bag right now. So I'll bring you back next week and see if anyone will attempt to get that. Otherwise, I have a bit of time. Remy, thank you so much for joining in today and for that submission again. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. So guys, I'll be rounding up in the next few minutes because I see one or two people that I've sent invite to. I don't know, maybe it's the network or maybe they can't speak where they are. I do understand that some people are probably just rounding up at work and they have to go home now, which I quite understand. But the talk, I'll post the talk later so that to whoever has missed it, they can always come back and listen, and hopefully we'll reflect on this and, you know, help our marriages to grow better, to fight better, not each other, and handle life. Ian, thanks for joining. How are you? Okay, let me see if you will come up to the box and say one or two things. We're discussing, or the topic is woes in marriage. And I've given my talk as usual, and Remy has given his contribution today about it. But there's so many aspects of it. Like I said, sometimes we shy away from talking about this kind of topics because it's very sensitive. It's a very sensitive topic. Ian, thank you. Yeah, we finished it. I finished the talk. I've given my submission. Woes in marriage. You know, when you're talking about woes in marriage, just a kind of recap. Mary Jane, you're welcome. Let me just recap so that you will know, because I finished the talk and even Remy in the box has given his own submission as well. So when you're talking about woes in marriage, they are the challenges that we face in marriage, the difficulties we face in a marriage relationship, and it's throughout the lifetime of that marriage. So it's not like when you get married, you face that challenge and that's it, bed of roses forever. No, it keeps happening. And we talked about certain woes in marriages, meaning certain difficulties in marriages, communication problem, financial strain. Let's see who's okay. Mary Jane, let's welcome you. You're welcome. We talked about intimacy issues. All these issues, if not properly dealt with, can create problems in the marriage and can even lead to divorce sometimes. Ian, I'm going through this especially because of you, okay? So I expect you to come into the box and add one or two or share experiences. So another challenge, you know, that goes on in a marriage, financial situation, like I said, intimacy issues, infidelity, parenting challenges, work-life balance, you know, all of this, it sounds, you know, okay, But you and I know that if you don't manage your time well, it will affect your relationship with your spouse. And again, we talked about health issues, a big role in marriage, big challenge. Health issues could be physical, could be mental, as well. And then we talked about the in-law relationship. They can be a challenge. Sometimes they are challenges to that couple if they don't set the right boundaries, if they don't put their foot down, like, you don't treat my spouse this way, whether I'm there or not. Because sometimes when you don't set that boundary, you find out that in-laws will take advantage. They feel because you are the stranger that came to our son's house, they will deal with you in a certain way, or you are the one who came to take our daughter away, so we have to deal with you certain ways. No, as long as you and your spouse are in sync, you have to create boundaries for whether your parents or your spouse's parent, whichever way. Don't let them interfere, because if you're not careful, they, oh, thank you so much, they would break your relationship. Let them realize that we have boundaries. Respect my spouse, and I'll, let it be mutual as well. And then we talked about strategies, to overcoming those woes. Still open communication, regular checks in, with check-ins with your spouse, active listening, not just listening or not just hearing to respond or fight them back. You have to actively listen to your spouse, and in a constructive dialogue as well. And then we talked about seeking professional help if you need to. Maybe that challenge is a big one and you need professional help. Please seek it. Or it could be a support group as well. Hearing other spouses talk about their challenges will let you know that you're not just the only one facing challenges, so you better make up already. And then again, you need to prioritize your relationship above other relationships. Your spouse comes first, aside God anyways. You can do date nights, and it has to be deliberate, intentional as well. Appreciate one another, little thank yous here and there. Just appreciate, hug one another, spend time together, connect emotionally, physically, and all of that. And again, develop financial plans together, so that issues will not come and fight you concerning your challenges. Thank you so much, Ian. I really appreciate that. Budgets, plan your budgets. If you have financial goals, sit down and talk about it, whether it's short-term goals or long-term financial goals. Sit and talk about it. And again, nurture your intimacy. That one I cannot overemphasize. Physically, be affectionate. Emotionally, connect with one another. Don't let the issues of life break that connection, that affection you have for your spouse. Life happens. Sometimes you get angry at one another, but when you have at the back of your mind that there is no escape route, you just have to calm down and forgive your spouse so you can move on. And then balancing parental responsibilities. Sometimes some people have the notion that because the woman gave birth to the child or children, it's her responsibility to look after them, nurture them, and all of that. No, it's a shared responsibility. Whether you're living within the household or even outside or whatever, it's a teamwork. Okay, if you have to go for parenting classes, please do so in order to help each other manage that home well. And again, managing stress. If you don't manage stress together, it will become a woe in your marriage. So everything really has to be, attention needs to be given to every aspect of your marriage life, because if you pay attention to one and you neglect the others, it will fight back and bring other issues with it. So therefore, we need to sit down, talk about things, don't shy away from them, especially when they are going to become a problem. Don't ignore it. Sit down and talk about it. And again, like I said, set boundaries with in-laws, with other people, your friends, your peers. Some people, I don't know who was saying to me the other time that, of course, this person is their friend. When they go to each other's house, they just stay in the living room, the dining, or the back garden, or what have you. Said they went upstairs, and before they could turn, this person had barged into their room without being invited. They overstepped the boundary. Let it be that your friend is the one bringing you to bedroom or something. As simple as that is, if care is not taken, your spouse who will notice that would not probably find that funny, so let's respect boundaries that has been put in place. Don't break it because you feel I have the hip friend or hippie happy friend or what have you. No, learn to stick with the boundaries and let it be clear to your extended families as well. So in a nutshell, that's what we've talked about. So maybe I might just finish at 9 o'clock after all, because I was thinking I'll have to round up if people are not forthcoming tonight, because I do understand that people, probably at work or just finishing work. So Ian, if you're still there, I hope I've been able to do justice to my brief summary. And what's your take on that? Oh, you're welcome. So if you want to type, if you don't want to come into the box, it's fine. I do understand. Charlotte, you're welcome. So if you want to talk, please send an invite and I'll bring you so that we can hear your perspective, how you handle these life's challenges in a marriage. It could be that you've seen your parents in a marriage, if you're not in a marriage relationship, and you've seen how they've handled situations in the good times, the bad times, the ugly times, and it's something you're also eager to practice in your home because it really worked for them or is working for them. So I don't know what angle you want to come in with, but one of the questions I asked is, should there be woes in our marriages to start with? Should there be woes? So if you want to attempt that as well, why not? Let's hear from you.
Love is light that's within me, shine to the whole world, whole world. Light, let the dawn of a new day bring understanding and love.
Ian, send an invite. Let's hear from you. Okay, so that's the talk for today. Wars in marriage. Sensitive talk, but it needs to be said because marriages. Oh, you're a good listener. I'm a good talker as well. Maybe I should say that. Oh, wow. You can type. If you don't want to come up, I do understand. You can type there and I can read it out. What's your take on the topic? Should there be wars in our marriages? And is it possible not to allow these wars in our marriages? Is it possible? I don't know, Remy, before we round up, if you have something else you want to add to it. And I believe strongly that the people listening out there, they've gained one or two things. And likewise from your submission as well, because no man has all the answers. We just try to educate one another. Sometimes we might have to unlearn to relearn certain things, God help us, really. Are you still there? Or Ian, maybe you want to try and attempt my puzzle today. The puzzle is, what is the best way to get a message to God? What is the best way to get a message to God? If you want to, oh, manager, you just come in. Anyways, welcome. Thank you for joining. Oh, yeah, I remember. So thank you for joining, manager. You're welcome. So, Ian, do you know the answer? What is the best way to get a message to God? Do you know the answer? So if you want to attempt, you can type it there. I'll read it out. If you get it, you get the gift. Thank you, manager, for putting that up. What is the best way to get a message to God? There is a way, and if you know the answer, please feel free. And then if you get it correctly, you get the gift. I'll probably write it to him. How do you write it to him? You're nearly there, but not quite. So I'm gonna laugh a bit. There's a particular way in form of a prayer. You're moving far away from your previous response. So I hope you get it. Honestly, I hope somebody will get it today. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, manager, for the heart to me. Nikki, thanks for joining. We have about 11 more minutes to go. So if you're not getting it, I'm a round up. Maybe I'll just sing one or two choruses for tonight. And then hopefully God will help us, as the challenges of life comes in our marriages, may we have the divine grace, divine understanding, the tolerance, the empathy, the understanding again that we need to communicate effectively with one another, to find a common ground, to resolving issues rather than just allow it to escalate. And to many couples out there who are faced with irreconcilable differences, my prayer is that God will give you the discernment of spirit to know how to handle that situation. And if children are involved, please let's be mindful of our children, because life in a divorced home, we all know, is not a bed of roses. So let's consider these children. Let's be the best example there is. The best example we can give our children is to be the best example. So let them see the good, the bad, the ugly. Let them see how you will handle it with respect, with love, not with enmity, not with bitterness, not with anger, not with, all those negativities. Ian, thank you so much for liking the live. And if you have anything you want to type in there, please feel free and I will read it out, like I said. Otherwise, we'll be rounding up shortly. So, marriage is not a bed of roses all the time. I don't want to say it's not a bed of roses, because there are beds of roses that we go through from time to time. Likewise, we go through some tough challenges that may seem like just throw in the towel, just give up already. And it's like you're not bulging, your spouse is not bulging, and there's just pandemonium, there's chaos, there's anger, there's words thrown about, and all the chaos in there. And for how long do we want to allow that to keep going? At some point, somebody needs to calm down and constructively address the situation and talk about it. Like I said, if it's a very deep, grievous thing, you feel you've tried, both of you cannot handle, please seek help. Seek professional help. That's why you have a professional therapist. Seek help. I'm one. You can reach out, private message me and reach out, or I can also refer you to colleagues as well. So there's always a way out. Whether we want to take that way out to help in our marriages is another thing. Sometimes because we're hurt, we allow the anger to take a better part of us in our reactions, in our actions, and in our words. What we say hurtful things. Some spouse will even curse their spouse because they're angry. The Bible tells me that I should be angry but sin not. I'd rather be quiet and go and deal with the shock or with the anger or whatever, however many days, because I'm being practical here. Because if I say I will sleep on it and all of that, you never can tell how you're feeling. But in as much as you're consciously aware that you need to make amends, find the best way to make amends, find the right way, because you know your spouse better than anybody else. And don't just think your way is the best way. Meet them at their level. And that's why spouses need to learn to compromise with one another. You have to be tolerant. You have to be understanding. And I tell you, as you grow in that journey called marriage, you will see another side of your spouse you've never seen before. I cannot overemphasize that. You will see you wonder, is this a man I married? Is this a woman I married? Yes, all of these attributes, behaviors, some you can't even put a word to it. You're like, when did you start this behavior? And even they themselves, they're not consciously aware until you mention it. And they're like, if it's a bad behavior, of course, they will have to check themselves. As you're checking them, they have to check themselves as well. Because otherwise, if it's ignored, it might escalate to be a bigger problem, a bigger behavior on the negative side. and that will even strain the marriage or that relationship some more. We don't want that. So spouse should learn to talk to one another. Issues will come up from time to time, issues that want you guys to fight one another, issues that want you not to even talk to one another, issues that will make you feel irritated with one another, issues that will make you to be bitter with one another. And this is real life I'm talking about here. I've been through my fair shares of all these things I've mentioned, and I don't know what the future holds as well. But in it all, I'm happy. In it all, I'm still happy. God is helping us through, because we don't have all the answers. We might not handle it the best way all the time, but at least we're making the effort. And that's why, I mean, I can put numbers to my own experience. I don't know how many years your experience is, but experience, they say, is the best teacher. And then when you get even more mature, you will see that maybe mature challenges will come on as well. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, manager, for that. So this thing, like I said, is sensitive, but we need to talk about it. We can't shy away from it. We can't be in denial of it. I don't know which couple will come and tell me here that they've never been through any challenge since they've been married, whether 1 year, 2 years, whether 100 years, or whatever years they've been in their marriage relationship. And of course, the fact that you're still in there means you're dealing with it. It might not always be the best way, but at least you're dealing with things and you're progressing in that marriage. So I would have to leave you guys here at this point. We have about 4 minutes actually. Yeah.
Bring understanding and love. Oh, inside.
Oh, well, we're taking the likes off a bit. Thank you so much. I hope we've learned one or two things like I've said. If you have questions, if you need help with any issue or challenges, you can reach out on the what is it called, on a private message, and I'll try my best to respond to you, at least from my own little experience as well. It's always good to talk about these things, not bottle them up, because if care is not taken, it might lead to depression, it might lead to anxiety and other medical issues. And we need to clear our mind from time to time. So if you're the type, you're hearing me tonight and you cannot remember when last you held your partner's hand to just feel them, please do so tonight before you go to bed. If you're the type, you haven't kissed each other in a long while, maybe you should do that 2 minutes before you go to sleep tonight. Just check and see, what have you not done lately with your spouse. Try to do it, in the next week or so, or whatever it is. Let's not be shy with one another. If your spouse has offended you, sometimes they might not even come to apologize. Sometimes we have to find in our heart to forgive whichever way, for our own sake, not even for them, if I may sound like that. So we need to learn to forgive one another. I think we talked about forgiveness in marriage a couple of weeks ago, or was it last week? I bring all these topical issues every Thursday about marriages and relationship, and God will help us. No man has all the answers. I don't have all the answers, and that's why it's always good to rub minds and learn from one another. What may work for my marriage may not work for your marriage, but at least we've talked about it. People can pick what they feel will help their marriage, and hopefully they will get good result from that as well. And don't forget, guys, I come on Mondays where I talk general talks. Last Monday we talked about integrity, and if you missed that, please come back to my page and watch that. I think I've uploaded almost an hour of that, just so that you can take time. If you're working, whatever you're doing, you can just relax and listen to it and pick one or two things that'll be beneficial to you. Ify Aduba, thanks for joining, even though we're just rounding up. So guys, as usual, thank you so much. Love from FunmiRoyal. Thank you for always coming out, even though not many people in the box today. And I thank you so much. The only speaker I have for today. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you for your submission. And hopefully I'll see you next week by the grace of God. Manager, thank you for liking the live. And everyone that has liked the live and shared, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. So if you've missed, if you're just joining, don't worry. I will try in the next few days to upload the talk so we can pick one or two things from there. So on this note, I say thank you for joining me today. To all the gifters as well, I say thank you. I really, really appreciate you. Please let's do better in our marriages so we can enjoy our marriages and not endure as such. I'll see you on Monday. God bless.
Inside, bringing hope and make you feel alright.
Thank you.
Rainbow, the promise, the future.
Thank you guys. Bye.